Hello, Culture Matters podcast. We are here, New Year's Eve 2025, Lollapalooza with the one and onlys. My co-host today, Mike Drop Calhoun, and an amazing cadre of friends. Maria Quattrone let me a blow-up mattress 10 years ago. We'll talk about that, maybe not. Spare me the shame. Alan Whitman, one of the most amazing leaders, new author. I can't wait to talk about that book, Changing Lives for Many Years. Jim Sabellico is back from 9 a.m. and so is Matt McHale, friends for many years. Met Jim through Chris Vester, who's actually in the studio right now. The Vester family's impacted our family deeply. And Mike Modica, great beard. You're really growing that out. We have a proud client of Pine Valley Investments and someone I consider a friend. Mike, so Alan, Chris, Maria, Jim, Matt, Mike meet each other, and Mike, take it from here.
Ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Right now,
Mr. Jay Doran and I have been doing this since 5 a.m., believe it or not. I woke up at precisely 4:47 after 3 alarms, and he called at 4:45. I'm like, well, I guess I better get up. So we have had a great time. There's been how many? What time is it? So it's 4. So we've done four podcasts with an average of 5 or 6 people on most of them. And then, so here's the rules, guys. If you want to stay, like Jim was on with us, the prior podcast, Matt was on with the prior podcast. If you want to stay for another podcast or conversation, feel free to do so. And if you want to come back later in the day, guess what? We'll still be here because he only lined up like 24 hours straight of 5 or 6 people at a time. And somehow I volunteered for this last year, and I think he has now got me marked every year on New Year's Eve. My wife just asked me, what are you doing and when are you going to be done? And I said, I won't be done. Maria, great having you. Alan, he didn't tell me you were on the call today. I would have dressed up. Mike, I noticed it says Michael, but he called you Mike, so I'm going to call you Mike. Mr. Vester, been a long time, buddy. Been a long time. You look great. You got younger. So here's what we're going to do. I could do an amazing intro for you because he wrote this very detailed description with very sophisticated languaging and vernacular, right? I think it's better if you give us a 30, 40-second little elevator understanding of yourself, your brand, maybe a little bit of the family, and what's the big North Star for you in 2026. And if you've attached a word to that, share that with us as well. Maria, you've got a smile. I can tell you got a smile getting ready to crack there. We'll let the ladies go first. So Maria, just, what is the brand? If you have a URL, slide that little thing in there too, so we can check you out while we're listening. We're going to let you go first there, Mrs. Maria.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year's Eve. I'm here in Amsterdam with my husband on vacation. And so it's 4:00 here. Anyway, my brand is Be the Solution. And I've been a real estate broker for 22 years, going into year 23. I'm from Philadelphia. I run a team there in Philadelphia. And I love Jay, and I'm so happy to be here. I will say that my North Star for 2026 is to grow and launch and grow my real estate consulting, coaching business and course, Listing Boss, 90-day Listing Accelerator. And my word for 2026 is fearless, fearless. My word for 2025 was focus. And I think that was a good word for me for 2025. So I thought really, really long and hard about this word. In fact, I've been thinking about it for a couple weeks, and I literally came up with it just about 24 hours ago. I looked at about 500 words, and nothing resonated with me. And then yesterday, I was reading a dear friend of mine's post, And he mentioned this world fearless. And as soon as I read his post, I was like, that is it. And that is what I'm going for. And I'm going to bring it. I don't care how scared I am to do some of these things that I want to do, but I'm going to do it. And I'm excited and jazzed up. Last time I was this excited and jazzed up, it was 2019. I was in Vienna going to a ball, and it was New Year's Eve. And I remember thinking, we're going into 2020, and all these great things are going to happen. And I'm turning 50 in 2020, and I'm going to do all this shit. And guess what happened? Well, we all know what happened. So it's still, Jay, as you know, we got through it because we were around, right? We were together, actually.
Yeah.
And over at the apartment that you were in Philadelphia. And so we still brought it, but my intention didn't come out exactly the way that I wanted to.
Holy cow.
At least we got through that.
2020 actually became a very, very good year for a lot of businesses. Obviously, some not so good, but some really thrived. For example, you have communities like Board of Advisors that meet in person, and believe it or not, 2020, where you're not supposed to meet in person, was one of our best years ever, because people, I think they had an appetite for conversation and community, and they had the time to do so. You know, it's the unexpected event that really brings the opportunity to the entrepreneur. Thank you for that, Maria. Really great job. And it sounds like you love to travel as well. Christopher Vester, you just happen to be right there next on the list. You have obviously been a huge advocate of Jay. Jay is also of you. You've got an admirable setup there with the land, the family. Just give everybody, I don't want to take it all away from you, give everybody kind of a little 30, 40-second understanding of you, and then what's closest to your heart for 2026. And, we're all ears, buddy.
Sure. I always introduce myself the same way. I'm a bold man who acts with integrity and from love, and I stand as a beacon point of God's grace and mercy. I'm also a second gen, in the second gen an automotive space. We've got 3 dealerships in Wilson, North Carolina, Honda, Toyota, and Chevrolet. My dad still is actively involved in that work most every day. In that, my 2025 word was pruning. And it wasn't about, I actually made some notes coming into this. It wasn't about withdrawal or loss. It was just about intentional elimination for growth. Like that's what pruning is. And for 2026, it's alignment. And part of that's because I'm stepping into some advisory space, and the actual name of that is Align Your Nine. So it just kind of all comes together. But, the intentional elimination gave room for alignment and things that would help me move forward in this mission that I feel like I'm on. So I'm super excited to be here. I did this last year and got to watch multiple episodes of this, and it's crazy what Jay has created here. I love this culture. I like investigating each one of you. Like, it's really neat to see what he's put together in each group too. So I'm excited to be here. It's awesome.
Many times, the no is your best yes to fewer and better things. So it sounds like that worked out for you pretty well.
Yeah. And no is a complete sentence. Like, people don't understand that. That's the hardest thing to teach people. No, period.
Oh, it's a complete sentence.
It's a complete sentence.
I like that. Alan, again, like I said, if he had told me you were going to be here, I would have dressed up. I really am looking forward to your 30 or 40 seconds here, Alan. And then, also, if you've concentrated a word into your 2026 North Star, share that with us as well, brother.
Yeah, well, first of all, Jay, thanks for inviting me and asking me to join this. This is fantastic, and certainly have more thoughts on that. But to follow the instructions that Mike you've laid out, I will keep it to 40 or 42 seconds. Quickly, my brand is Break the Mold. It's the title of the book that just came out. Break the Mold. That just came out. How to achieve transformational change, scale, and growth simultaneously. My story is taking a traditional old school CPA firm, however large it was, and tripling it in a very short period of time, but more importantly, transforming it and making it the organization much more modern than it had always been. And there's all sorts of lessons in the book. You can get it on Amazon if you wish. I love this word thing, and Christopher, thank you. I wrote down. I steal everybody's sayings. No is a complete sentence is right up there with human nature is undefeated. Somebody shared that with me, and I'm like, that's brilliant. I use it all the time. Human nature is undefeated. So no is a complete sentence is wonderful. So break the mold. You can find me on LinkedIn or alandwhitman.com. And my word in 25, if I've had to do it all over, would have been accomplish. I mean, for me to write a book, I mean, who am I to write a book? But I did. And so I accomplished that. It was a huge undertaking for me. And we did it within the confines of the 12 months of 25. And my word for 26 is intentional. Intentionality, intentional. Reason being, it's going to be announced Monday that I'm going to be leading a private equity backed financial services platform. So I'm going to do it again. We did it once with Baker Tilly, which was a partner-led organization. Now we're going to do it with another financial services. We're bringing 3 companies together in the Southeast, focused on the small, medium-sized businesses. And the group has asked me to come in and be the CEO to scale it, working with a very large private equity firm out of Chicago. So we need to be very intentional on what we set out to do and then how we execute. I was just on the phone before this with my former chief of staff. She's joining me, and I'm going to be on the phone after this with my tech automation and AI leader. So we got to be very intentional about what we do so that we can achieve our value creation plan and the thesis for this platform. So probably wasn't 42 seconds.
What is the outcome and benefit for the SMBs?
Our promise is we're going to manage your affairs through the CPA services. We're going to protect your affairs, your wealth, through our insurance and risk management services, and we're going to grow your wealth and your prosperity through the transactions, M&A, wealth management services. So the tagline is prosperity within reach for all those companies.
This is like an RIA and an M&A kind of.
Well, yes, RIA is part of it. The foundation is traditional CPA, outsourced accounting, outsourced tax, and all those services, together with risk management services, insurance, both property and casualty, and health and welfare, and then monetization services, whether it be sell side, buy side,
very comprehensive.
Raise capital, et cetera. So again, we're going to manage, protect, and grow.
Love it. Yeah, I'd like to know more. You said you have a URL for this. You gave us yours.
Yeah, I will. I'll connect with you. I'll connect with you. Got a pitch deck. We can share what we're all about.
Well, I wanted to make sure I get all the information because Mike Modica over here, he's salivating now that he knows everything that you're doing. And Mike,
wonderful.
I was going to say exactly what he said about himself, but I didn't get a chance to because he said it better. But Mike, give us your 30 or 40 seconds. And also let us know, like, for you, have you concentrated a word down into your focus for 2026? Or, maybe you just want to share what the major priority is for 2026 for you.
Well, I'll start with the word. But I did find what Alan was saying interesting. We definitely have some overlap, so we should talk more. But I think discipline. I have 2 words. I really love discipline. Not just the word, but I love the quote by Mike Tyson. You guys may have heard it, but it resonates with me. Like, I think about it almost every day. So discipline, in the words of Mike Tyson, is doing what you hate to do and pretending that you love it. I think if you go into your day with that mindset, especially for a full calendar year, you're going to be pretty surprised what you're able to accomplish. The other word, I think, for me personally, is replaceable. So I want to continue to develop what we're doing with our business, which is an RIA. That's the mothership, as we call it. Advisory services, wealth management services. We have 2 private funds. $2.8 billion, about 40 people that work for us, about 25 of them are advisors. I've been doing this for about 13 years. I've been partners with my now partners for 10 years, and it's been a controlled chaos kind of growth process. And we're at the point now where we need some of the other people to really start picking up some of the slack. And I want to make myself more replaceable, you know? And I don't mean that in like a negative way. Like I want to check out and go sit on the beach. That's not what I mean. I mean it because I think that's how we're going to get to 5 billion and 10 billion and so on and so forth, because I need to give a little bit more trust to some of the other people, let them grow, let them get some responsibility and those sorts of things. So I have 2 words.
Mike,
Sorry.
I
Yeah.
love this guy, Mike, already because I told Jay that we need 2 words. This whole 1 word thing is so constraining because I had 2 words as well. And he's like, no, it's got to be 1 word. So you and I are on the same page. And I shared something actually on the prior, I don't even know what prior, it was one of the ones that was between now and 5 a.m. this morning, but there was a gentleman that's part of the board of advisors, which is my business. He built a company of about 250 agents and was kind of at a threshold of just like, how do I grow? How do I grow? And what he realized through really studying John Maxwell was leadership and leadership development was initially, yes, about him, but ultimately about building leaders in the company. And he went from like 29, 30 leaders in the company and 250-ish agents in 1 year by putting his focus on leadership development in others to 60 leaders and almost 700 agents in 1 year because he had leverage through building great leaders, right? So, what I find fascinating on the screen here, because you and Mr. Alan Whitman are like you were side by side there for a second. What I think would be fascinating is if you took all of your experience in that 13, 14 years, you said you guys have been doing this, and you concentrated it down into everything that you feel like is your intellectual property, and it became your culture puzzle or your Bible for how you replace yourself if they were to be the best version of you. And even if you were to design the best version of you and you advised or coached them into that, I think you would find yourself moving to that level where you have a reinvigorated enjoyment for what you're doing, but you also get the real fulfillment of leverage, and you'll hit that 10. I just got in off of a call with a guy managing 12, right? And it's just totally possible. He's trying to figure out how to go to 50. So just I wanted to encourage you there because that leadership thing, so many times people think it's about themselves becoming a better leader. Quite frankly, he's like the biggest inspirational officer inside of his organization, more so than even what I would consider like the best leader. Now, what do you think, Mike?
I agree with everything you're saying. Yeah, I think part of the issue, not to elaborate on this too much, I don't want to hijack any of the conversation, but in our jobs, when we make mistakes, they're very big mistakes. They cost people money or the firm money. So that's why sometimes things have to go very, very slow. And that's why there's a senior manager or partner kind of looking over the shoulder of some of the junior people. So it takes a long time to build that trust with the people that work with you, because you just can't afford to make mistakes. It's not a two-way door. You can't go in and out. It's one way, right? And it's very hard to fix. So my specialty, quite honestly, like I don't consider myself an investment manager or advisor. I'm like a systems engineer. I like to get my hands dirty on with what people are doing, how they're doing it, how it can be more efficient, how can I use new technology, those sorts of things. So that's kind of my roadmap for 2026 is to maybe take a step back, start evaluating people, what they're doing, how we can improve it, how we can check for errors, how we can prevent errors and mistakes, those sorts of things. It's a very little output on my end, but it's high value work, so.
Yeah. Yeah, you're on the right track. When I had my RIA, I learned a pretty valuable trick. The best way to make a big mistake go away is just make a bigger one. I don't have my RIA anymore, but kidding. I have to wait. I got to keep Jay away.
Yeah.
No,
So,
Mike.
I want to actually add to what you're saying too, and about the leadership thing. And I don't want to hijack the call either. But leadership. You spoke about people think it's about them. Well, it is to some degree, because as they're building that leadership, right? It's not their leadership; it's the leadership that they're building. They become someone different as well. So that side effect is what they become while they're building the leaders under them. So it starts out about them, flows into other people, but it ends up still being about them because they become someone different as they're building that leadership under them.
Best thing you can do is put your hands in your pocket. Just don't take them out. Think about it. All right. Okay, we have hit all the new folks. Let's touch base real quick. And there's nobody new. Everybody's been a relationship of Jay's, maybe even a client, a day with Jay, culture puzzle. Has anybody on here done an actual culture puzzle with Jay? Chris, Maria. Okay. Well, okay, 2 seconds here. If you do a culture, are you even doing any more culture puzzles? Is this like something that you're even offering anymore?
You said you were the last one. It kind of scared me.
No, I'm holding you to it. I'm just making sure I'm holding you accountable.
I could use, I'm here to learn as much as everyone else. So anyway.
So he follows you around for like a year, just observing you. And at first it just feels weird. You're like, what are you doing? And then after the year, you're so used to having this person eyeballing you 24/7 and listening to all your calls and at your meetings that, when he hands you the book and he's not there anymore, you feel like less important. But the first stage it's just definitely odd. So, and then you end up with, like I said, a 3-inch Bible for really the possibility of what the best version of your brand and your culture and your business could really be, because he sees the best of you, but he also sees all those gaps that you can fill in and make yourself better. And it's a wild puzzle. I've never had something inspire more thought than that process, even to this day. Jim, give us 30 seconds on you just so they get a little taste, and then we'll hit Matt, and then well, that's it, actually, right? Yeah, Matt and Jim. Go ahead, Jim.
Thank you. So I am a father and a husband. I own a couple businesses, but I don't want to use this time to talk about me. I was on the last episode. If you want to hear more about me, listen there. I really just wanted to show up here. I get to go take my son to lacrosse practice in like 2 minutes, so I'm going to be brief. But I wanted to at least hop on here just to give some flowers to Chris Vester, because I heard he was going to be on this episode. And I had to stick around just because the primary reason why I'm able to even be on here doing this is because he has shown up as a leader in his own life and inspired me by being a picture of possibility. So I just wanted to publicly at least give him some flowers for being that person. Because if Chris wasn't as intentional in leading himself, I would not have seen that in my life and been able to do the things that I do and get to spend my entire day helping other people and being with my family and living the life that I live. So I just wanted to use this time to give some honor to Chris, and just this entire culture is it's a pleasure to be around.
Are you still doing the web design stuff, Jim?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
I'd like to get your information. Jay can make that happen. Um, good, good. And you were super insightful on the last one. So thank you for all that value. And then Matt, 30, 40 seconds. I know everybody knows who Matt is. Matt's Mr. Popular. He's been around the longest in the world of Jay, but we'll do it anyway here, Matt. Go ahead, buddy.
Thank you, Mike. So am I muted? No, I'm good. Okay. I keep coming here to meet new people, make relationships, but really I just come here to hear your voice, Mike. It's just this soothing voice. So thank your wife for us that she has lent you to this for the day. So we appreciate her doing that. So yeah,
absolutely.
Real quick, and I'll try to tie in a couple of things here that you guys have talked about. So I help companies grow, both for-profit and nonprofit companies. And doing that, I go back to, you had mentioned COVID and things that happened then. And obviously for a lot of people's businesses, it was a challenging time, but good things also came out of it, Mike, as you said. So one of the things for me was Clubhouse. I was on Clubhouse and got to really network with a lot of people through Clubhouse. And one of those people was Brian Hess, who is the CEO of the Pavement Group. And years later, I'm talking with Jay, and I was like, yeah, I'm always looking for companies to work with. He's like, Brian Hess might be looking. And I was like, I know Brian. And Jay reconnected me with Brian and called him. And Brian's like, yeah, I know Matt. He's like, that'd be great. So we connected a few months back. And here, just the last few months, I've had the blessing of working with Brian and his partner, Mike, and that whole team at Pavement Group, just amazing people, really are. So, and I'll go to my word next. So I'm not disciplined enough to come up with a word. I waited until the last minute. So I put it in ChatGPT a couple sessions ago. And ChatGPT did a great job because I use it a lot and it knows me, and it came up with stewardship. But I'm going to do you one better, Mike. I'm going to go 3 words because I used to do Chris Brogan's mastermind, and he would always do 3 words every year. So I'm going to do stewardship. I love that. Leverage is another thing because we've been talking about that all morning with Chase, who was on earlier, and some other people. And I'm going to go discipline because Mike, the other Mike, I loved your story. I thought you were going to do the Mike Tyson, everybody has a plan, they get punched in the face quote, because that's always, a good Tyson quote as well. But that discipline is, and I talked about that earlier, daily discipline compounded daily equals transformation, and if you take discipline out of that, the daily compounded daily, doing things daily, whether they're good or bad, can have that. And for me, this year was definitely the daily of not working out, not being, intentional about making sure I stay with that. So I'm back on that here in the last month and a half. So that discipline is huge for me and being able to do those things. So thank you all for sharing. I love that. And I love just being able to learn a little bit from everyone. Oh, and the last thing here, like, this whole top shelf, most of that is John Maxwell, all Maxwell books there. You mentioned John Maxwell earlier, Mike. Love Maxwell. There's some private mastermind sessions I have from him that I forgot about these. I was looking up there from a group I used to be in, so I got to go back and look at some of that stuff.
Oh, very nice. So if you're big on John Maxwell, I'd like to introduce you to the gentleman I was talking about that built the leaders. His name is Max Willett, and he's here in the Tampa Bay area, big in the insurance space, but just has a heart for that leadership side of things. His first event was 1,200 people here in Tampa, and it was a one-day event, probably one of the most professional ones I've seen produced, but the energy that he exuded it was wild. So I think, I don't know if you have a podcast, Matt, but he could be a great guest on it. Yeah, and he's just looking to get out there and actually spread that message. So it'd be a great conversation for you.
Definitely look that up. Thank you, Mike.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Jay.
Alan, what's your book's title called?
The book is called Break the Mold. Break the Mold.
Maria mentioned about being fearless earlier. It's been said that public speaking is the biggest fear outside of the pain of maybe not being alive anymore. Yeah, very successful career. You're at the height of life in so many regards. We met on a plane. I love that story because I said, look at this man. He's working so hard I need to know this, man. Okay. Um, were you afraid of writing the book? Like, how did you overcome,
Yeah,
if you were, what's that
yeah,
process look like? Because many of our listeners want to write a book or are
yeah.
afraid of things, and that word fearless, I'm afraid, yeah. So
Great question. And yeah, we did meet on a plane real quick. I'm sitting, he's in the window, I'm sitting in the aisle, and I look over and he's furiously scribbling on one of his notes, one of his infamous notes to a client or a friend or somebody. And, he's looking at me, I'm looking at him, and he finally, we break the ice and like, all the awkwardness of flying next to somebody that you want to say something to, but you're in a plane, you don't. And I'm like, and I left that plane. I'm like, that guy's crazy. I don't know if I'm ever going to see him again. That guy's crazy, and I probably do want to get to know him. And look at this, 4 years later. That was before COVID, or around COVID, right?
a little after.
A little after. Okay, so a couple years. Anyway, so you are crazy, Jay, and crazy good. And I've shared
Thanks.
this Lollapalooza thing with. I was sharing with a bunch of people last night, and they're like, "Well, that is very unique, as you all know, I mean, as you're experiencing." So everybody I've shared it with is great. My story about Mike Calhoun's voice. I was driving from Marco Island, Florida, to Miami for an acquisition breakfast, and I listened to last year's 24's first edition. And I got almost lulled to sleep by Mike's voice because I didn't know what you looked like. I hadn't looked you up. I wasn't surfing. I was listening to the sessions on the whatever it is, YouTube or whatever, over the CarPlay. And I'm like, I got to see what this guy looks like. You talked about your beard, you talked about your hat, etc. I'm like, this guy's another crazy one. Well, you may be crazy, but you're good looking and obviously very successful. So that was my first intro to you. Look, I came up with a number of my isms. Right. I registered the word mark, break the mold. And, I believe that words matter. I believe all roads lead to and from strategy. I believe the power of building engines to do things with people, for people, and sometimes in spite of people. And in my profession, CPA, accounting, what have you, it's a lot of my client, my book, my way of doing things. And we're always steeped in how we've done it. What has gotten us here, we believe will get us there. And we all know Goldsmith's book, he debunks that. He says, what got you here won't get you there. And so all of the things that I had reams of notes, all that took me through kind of a diary journal of my 8 years of being the CEO of Baker Tilly. And I started using them in speeches, presentations, coaching assignments, coming on to firms and helping C-suite, et cetera. And I started testing the waters. Were these applicable only to Baker Tilly, or are they applicable to all professional services firms? And what I found was these were universal. Words matter. As you guys, I'm learning from all of you. Words matter. Phrases matter. How you talk, the emphasis on the words matter. And so I'm like, wow, there's not many books written about my profession, whether it's law firms, professional services, let's say, accounting firms, RAs, by CEOs or former CEOs that are still in the game. I was still in the game. And knowing how much I learned from No Rules by Reed Hastings, or the book, the guy that ran Honeywell, his name, right? Cody, or all the CEOs that shared their story. I'm like, you know what? I want to share my story, and so, and I know it's applicable because keep getting hired to. I'm making a presentation next Wednesday to a firm of about, I don't know, 50 million in revenue, and they've read the book beforehand, and so yeah, it was a challenge, and it was scary to write it, to put everything out there. I just realized that people are asking for it. So let's get it out there. And those people that read it, that's great. If they don't read it, that's great too. My daughter, who's 22, just graduated from UCLA, she read it. And I asked her, I said, so was that a sympathy read because your dad wrote the book, or was that a real read? And she goes, no, I wanted to read it. It wasn't a sympathy read, but I do have some pages dog-eared because I do want to discuss some pages with you. So it was a great thing. I thought I could write it myself. Then I hired a writer. She took all my thoughts and made them come alive. And it was for me, it was a great start and closure to actually be disciplined to do something. The day that somebody said, well, you're an author, and I don't have any friends that are an author, that it kind of hit me. Oh, moly, I guess I am an author, because I'm a tax guy from Cincinnati, Ohio. I didn't start with anything. And 25, 30, 40 years later, I'm writing a book. And so it was a great personal goal and accomplishment of mine.
Have you ever thought about taking that book and visual, like translating it into visuals, kind of a presentation?
I have. Chapter 12 is a workshop. It's the culmination of all the chapters, of the book. So yes, I have thought about that. The next thing I'm doing is I'm gonna record it. So I'm gonna do an audio version with my voice. The chapters are the road to break the mold, the truth about trust, all roads lead to and from strategy, words matter, vertical and horizontal operations, a big thing in professional services. Everybody does their own thing. And in order for you to collaborate, you need to work horizontally across an organization. And the power of that is unbelievable. And so Mike, I've not executed on that.
Well, you're a phenomenal communicator.
Well, thank you.
And you're interesting, especially if you're not lying to us and you're really an accountant, then you're really phenomenal.
I am.
There's a gentleman, his name is Joel Bauer, and he teaches people to like, if you take your book and you put it into slides, and then you take those slides and you get it down to like 1 or 2 words, or even more importantly, 1 word, and then you actually take those slides and you eliminate all words and it's just images, and then it's the most wild presentation when it really gets boiled down to just images, and the way you're able to tell that story, it's just amazing.
I've heard about that. If you don't mind, a lot of us are doing great things, and we're all thinkers. Yet it's interesting when you Maria's word and Chris's word, and Matt, your discipline, and then my word of intentional. Mike, your word was in that same sphere. It's very interesting to me that people on this screen with big ideas, bold personalities, are coming down to words that organize things and get us down to the lowest common denominator, which I think is really, really fascinating. I'll give you a quick story about discipline and being intentional. I was on with my professional coach. This is 3 years ago. And by the way, Jay, you're right. Public speaking is nerve-wracking. And when you can do it right, it's great, but you got to practice it. You got to learn how to do it. So I'm on the screen with her, and she holds up a card, and it's got like 67, the number 67 on it. And I said, okay, Lori, I'll bite. What's 67? And she goes, that was the number of ums you used in the last minute. I'm like, wow. I mean, it was a huge gift, because, when people use the word we all know why it is. It's a spacer, it's a gap filler, etc. Yet it doesn't sound so great when you use the word It's much worse than if you just pause, because nobody knows why you're pausing. It's getting your brain caught up with your mouth, what have you. And I said, you know what? Gosh darn it, I am going to lick this. I'm going to be intentional and disciplined, because I don't want to use the word anymore. And in 3 weeks, I rid myself of I say it here and there. The point is, Matt, on working out, you say, because to me, working out is a habit. It's not something I want to do. It's just a habit, and the principles of atomic habits, I think maybe by Clear, was you got to make things habits. I just used I love the word intentional and the word discipline and being focused on solving something. It provides you such freedom. That's the quote I put in the chat. Discipline equals freedom, which is Jocko Willink's quote. So powerful. When people think, oh my gosh, you're telling me what to do and how to do it, that's going to ruin my entrepreneurial spirit. No, it's not. It's going to give you freedom to do other things. And so it just was fascinating with the personalities on the screen and the words you guys chose. So thank you for allowing me.
Chris Vester has a platform where he answers in the stairs that started on a stair treadmill. Chris, can you elaborate on that? Because I think it highlights something that was brilliant, what you just shared, Alan. Thank you. Chris, can you elaborate?
So it's funny, Mike talks about making it visual, like my book. And I hate Jim left because he was actually instrumental in pushing me into writing Answers from the Stairs, the book, and do the audio version, because when you read it again, you open yourself up to a lot, because I did the audio version of mine.
Yeah.
But it started with these Instagram, like this was Instagram before Reels. It was when IGTV was brand new as a competitor to YouTube. And I would get on my stair mill every day, and you never get to the top of a stair mill. Like, so, and I made the joke, there's answers at the top of this thing. Right. So you never really get all the answers. So that's where the title came from. That's the title of the podcast that I do, to get people's answers of their entrepreneurial journey. But I did the exact opposite. I took 28 hours worth of Instagram content and sat with someone and helped them create a book called Answers from the Stairs. That was a collection of those videos. So mine started out as a visual of me ridiculously sweaty, coming off of a treadmill, walking with a selfie gimbal, like articulating. I would listen to a podcast or a sermon or a book or something, and it would light my brain up in a way that they could articulate it better than I could. And so I always gave credit to John Maxwell or Ed Milet or Erwin McManus or like Jocko Willenick. I mean, there was guys that I was consistently listening to their content, and just coming off and just saying, hey, this is what I learned today, and this is who I heard it from. Right. So I always wanted to point back to where I got it from. You know, there's nothing new under the sun, according to King Solomon. But just being able to regurgitate it really consistently. And then someone said, man, you should write a book. Jim was on that call. I call him one of my casket carriers. He's going to be a guy that if I pass it for him, he will be carrying me. There's no doubt about it. Jay's one of those people. Haven't told him that, but he's one of those people. And they really pushed on me. Well, you've already written it. You just need to, like, they said, hey, let Google Translate just play all your videos and let that be the book. That doesn't work that way. You know, you got to make it more palatable for people to read. So mine was actually the exact opposite of what you had it all. Like, you had written notes and turned that into a book. And I had just recorded video and thought and turned that into a book. Same process.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And so it's been great. And then to be able to take the idea of, I had people go, hey, when are you going to start walking around the farm again? You know, doing the selfie videos. I had a CEO of a company ask me that question. I was like, well, I'm actually thinking about doing it a little different. I think I want to turn it into a podcast and let other people tell their answers from their stair wall. And he was the first one that was a guest on there. So, but yeah, it's the idea of, and one of the things I realized, you said your daughter wrote it. One of the drivers behind it for me is I would love for my great-great-grandchildren to understand where my thought processes came from, to be able to say, hey, great-granddaddy Vester wrote this book, and during the years of 2018, 2024, these were the people that were influencing his thought, and this is how it, right? And now they've got the digital version, they can actually hear my voice, you know? So, I mean, it was lots of reasons behind it.
As we close, if Maria, and Michael, I want you to hear this, and maybe you have something to share, because in my experience with you has been very disciplined. But Maria actually has done two things in my observation that are very inspiring as it relates to. Can you talk about Be the Solution and your consistency with your lives, and also, if I recall, it's like 130 plus listings in one. It was like in one.
And appointments, yeah. There was 132 appointments in a month I did 501 appointments this year for listings. So, yeah, Be the Solution podcasts, came from COVID, because we were locked down in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania for 10 weeks. No selling real estate face to face. So we came up with, you're going to get on Facebook Live every day. I'm like, Facebook Live? I never did this before. And, I looked around at the other leaders in the Philadelphia real estate space and even other parts of the country. And a lot of people weren't really saying too much. This is in the very beginning of COVID, and come up with the podcast within what 10 days of us being shut down. And Be the Solution podcast has been for 5 years. It's a niche podcast focused really on real estate and how people are the solution within, their business and their marketplace for the most part. And yeah, it's been interesting. I learned a lot. Alan, you said the word about I could count when I'm interviewing people um and right. And one of the things that I learned through over 400 recorded episodes is that when you are consistent the time and time and time again, that and you're aware that the goes away, because I learned to speak so much better on camera and in person just because of the podcast, specifically because of the podcast. And what I've also learned from it is how I can listen to the client, to the people, my staff, to our agents in our company, to my family, without having to say the next thing and being the one to speak next. And that's something that I think that is one of the actual best things that came from the podcast for me personally, is what I learned about myself. And this year, some of the things that, I took from 2025, I did a top 10 list. And if you want, I could just run by them real quick here.
Yes.
But
Please.
I said consistency beats intensity. Small things I did daily outperform the big things that I did occasionally. Clarity is a form of self-respect. Clear boundaries, clear ask, clear no's. My life got lighter when my words were clearer. Momentum is built on boring days. The days that felt unremarkable were usually the ones doing the most work behind the scenes. Rest is a strategy, not a reward. I'm more creative, more patient, more effective when I stop treating recovery like something I have to earn. And that goes to a lot of people. It's like, oh, you're on vacation again. No, I'm on, this is what I do. This is part of what I'm doing, who I am, how I become. This is where I get my creativity from. It's when everything happens when nothing is happening. That's the thing people lose track of, that I see. Rest, okay, not everything deserves a reaction. Good enough is often the gateway to great. Perfectionism delays progress. Finishing creates feedback. Feedback created growth. The right people make your life bigger. I learned to invest in relationships that feel mutual, the kind where support isn't a negotiation. Confidence comes after the courage, not before it. I stopped wanting to feel ready. I practiced being ready. My calendar is the truth. If it isn't scheduled, it isn't real, and I don't get it done. I protect what is in my calendar because it's actually what I am choosing. Gratitude doesn't erase hard things. It helps me hold them. This year had both the wins and weight, and I'm proud of how I carried both of them. So closing out 2025 with a full heart, sharper boundaries, and better questions. And at the end of this year, about a month, 6 weeks ago, I changed my entire way in our company of how we handle bringing a listing to the market, bringing a client on the board, all because of the opportunity to be clear, the opportunity to set boundaries, the opportunity to say what I am going to allow into our life in this real estate space.
Mic drop. Or go ahead, Maria. Sorry.
No.
I think we were all holding our breath. I don't even think I blinked or breathed.
Absolutely.
That was amazing. Maria, and I just said the word no, you said something. It was the rest is a strategy. That That is so good. Because
Rest
a lot of
is-
us don't allow ourselves to rest. And if we understand the perspective of it being a strategy to where it's part of our success, like now it,
part of it.
yeah, well,
I
now it's part of the formula.
we
Has-
have yeah,
has
I've
to be.
invited you all to 11. You're more than welcome. If there's a I can't even talk at this point so much.
Don't say because they're going to count them. This whole
There
crowd
are
here, you're
we
screwed
can
if
do
you
a
say
session. We can do
You're
a
going to get a
session on
little
stuttering.
report card.
Can I get
We-
a smile
we-
from everybody?
Oh
to
yeah,
take a
yeah. Let's
photo?
take a picture. Yeah,
I'm gonna
please.
post. Thank you.
Please, if you're listening to this podcast, share this with those you care most deeply about. Leave us a review on the Culture Matters podcast so we can continue bringing amazing relationships like everyone here and resources to inspire your reasons for what you do. So leave us a review on the Culture Matters podcast, and we will see you next time. New Year's Eve, Lollapalooza 2026.